Hello, my name is Patricia Wentworth, and I'll be talking about how the Google applications can be used in the classroom. This is kind of a table of contents of what I will be discussing throughout this presentation. So for starters, what are the Google applications? So we have four that I'll be talking about mostly throughout this presentation, but Google obviously has a bunch of different applications. So the four that we'll be talking about is the Google Classroom, Google Docs, Google Slides, and the Google Drive, which I think are the most beneficial for classroom settings. And one thing that I love the most about them is that they're all for free and they are easily accessible for schools. There are about 150 million users of the Google Classroom as of 2021 because as we know, the COVID-19 pandemic caused almost all the schools to go to online learning and remote learning. So Google Classroom was a great tool for teachers and schools to use. So why are schools transitioning to technology? Basically because of not only the pandemic, but as time goes on, new technology is being made, and as new technology is being made and technology is becoming more prevalent in our life, a bunch of the younger generations and today's students don't know a life without technology. And so, to make learning easier for them, schools are pushing technology to be used more in classrooms. That way, students, so that way their learning environment also reflects their everyday lives. Not only that, technology also takes some of the weight off of teachers by they can like look for more resources and supply more resources within the time frame that they usually have, which is only an hour, which you can only fit so much time in. So how are these apps useful? There are many benefits to the Google applications, such as organization, communication, autosave features, accessibility, classroom management, and computer literacy. With the organization, if you use Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, all of those kinds of applications, they're all saved to your Google Drive, or you can upload them to your Google Drive, which keeps it really organized. Especially in Google Classroom, it's easier for students to keep all of their assignments and documents all together where they can easily access it. And it also keeps the teachers organized as well because they can see easily what students have turned in, what they haven't turned in, without having to go through all the papers. It also helps with communication because now the communication can extend to outside of school hours. You can email your teacher or your professor, and you can also, if there's a group project, you can talk with your classmates and your group members easily. Autosave features are also really helpful because instead of like some other online applications that don't have autosave features and you have to manually save, Google applications like Google Docs, when you're writing a document, it saves pretty much as you write, as you work. Accessibility is also a huge thing with the Google applications, such as if people need text to speech, they can use most Google applications have that ability to be able to have the computer read it to you. Also, classroom management. It's easy similar to organization, it's easy for the teacher to be able to give their students enough resources and in a way that is easily accessible and easy for the students to read and go through on their own time as well outside of class. And as I said earlier about how as time goes on, technology is being implemented more into life and work once these students graduate high school, for example. So their computer literacy is going to be needed because more jobs are going to be are requiring these technological skills. So allowing students to practice this computer literacy through online assignments is really helpful for them. Now with benefits, everything also has its complications. So misuse and distractions. Obviously, with kids and students, they're going to want to play games, which isn't the biggest issue, but it is a huge distraction. But with technology in the classroom, students are also able to cheat more. They can look up the answers on Google, they can send emails to their friends in the class, which should be something that teachers have to monitor. And then with the Google Classroom, sometimes teachers want a certain look or have their assignment set up in a way that technology can't always give. So it really like isn't great for the customizability. Another big issue is the cost for technological devices. It's hard for lower economic schools to be able to fund for like Chromebooks or tablets, whatever the device is for all students. Internet connection can also be difficult. There's always technological issues that are bound to happen, and teachers or other faculty just need to find ways to go around those or go over those hurdles. Literacy issues such as like writing with a pencil on paper, some students may start to lack in that field because they're so used to typing and having autocorrect and all of those other AI grammar related tools. So their literacy might struggle with that. And there's also less in-person communication because and by that it's like face-to-face communication, which is beneficial for a lot of reasons, hence why we have communication classes. Because there's a lot of there's a lot of like facial cues or like body behavior that is also helpful when communicating with one another that these students aren't going to get if they're always facing some kind of screen. And then I'm going to be talking about how the applications can be used. These are going to be examples of how they're used in classroom settings. So we have watching videos at home. Lectures may leave students confused when they're in the classroom from the teacher. So being able to access videos outside of school hours or outside of the classroom will be helpful. You you can now turn in assignments outside of school, like outside of school hours. Now, if you are running a little bit behind on an assignment, you can turn it in later that day, just and you don't have to do it at the school. Keeping assignments in the drive is also helpful because as long as you have access to your Google Drive, you can turn in assignments whenever, and you can keep them organized so that you don't lose them. Absent students can keep up, so if you miss a day or miss a couple days, you can easily access what you've missed or what you're going to miss. Collaborative assignments are going to be easier to access now because you don't have to plan with your group mates when you can meet up for an assignment. You can just work on it at your own pace, at your home or somewhere else. And whenever you have questions, you can always email your teacher outside of school now instead of having to wait the next day for a question on your homework assignment. This is just going to be reviewing what we learned. We talked about why Google applications and technology are being implemented into schools. We talked about the pros, such as organization or communication, the cons, such as distractions and expenses, and some examples. And this is just basically the conclusion of my presentation. And I personally believe that technology and these applications are beneficial for students now and just in a learning setting or in the classroom because I believe that technology can be very useful in so many ways and it really helps teachers with giving students more learning capabilities or resources that they can't always give them at all times. And these are my references.